Final Fantasy 16. Let's go start with the big one. Apparently, this was leaked. I didn't know because I don't really follow leaks online. But was it actually leaked, guys?
There was like rumors going around, but nobody had like screenshots or anything like that. So
yeah, a lot of rumors. Some people reporting that it was going to be one of the biggest things at the event, which I guess technically it was. I didn't believe it, but lo and behold,
there you go. First thing they showed off.
Yeah, well, it was funny, Shadow. I saw your tweet. You're like, I'm shocked. I couldn't tell if you were being like sarcastic or not when you tweeted that.
Yeah, I wanted to retweet that one, like delete it and put it back up, but I got lazy and I was like, whatever. Let people think what they want.
So, the Giants World Podcast called it. They called it. We called it. It was a medieval game. I knew they were going to go back to medieval, and here it is. How exactly do you guys feel about the tone of the game?
Like it being darker?
Darker, medieval, fantasy again, not
I like that it's back to medieval. I think that's what we all said we wanted, right? I didn't expect it to be this dark. I mean, at the beginning, some guy gets squished by a boulder, and then like that, I'm assuming somebody's head gets cut off or something like that, because that kid's face is just covered in blood in that one shot. But it's so funny. A lot of the comments I saw were, "Oh, they're just copying Western games, and it looks like The Witcher, it looks like Skyrim." It's like, they're like going back to like a setting that they've done way before anything else, right? So it was just it was annoying to see people say that they felt like Final Fantasy is going more Western as opposed to being a throwback.
I don't exactly disagree with them.
Really? Okay. Go on.
Yeah, it just looks like Final Fantasy, like I want to say all the way back to maybe Final Fantasy 12, that they've always been trying to capture a Western market more than they have been Japan. And yeah, this one, Final Fantasy 16, it looks like, honestly, this looks like a generic Western RPG to me that has like some sort of Japanese influence a bit. And yeah, it kind of reminds me of Witcher and like other games like it for the most part. Like I'll say Dragon's Dogma. I know that's technically a JRPG, that's a game made in Japan, but that game was specifically like made to appeal to people in the West, and that's what Final Fantasy 16 is doing. I'm not saying that's bad. It's not bad at all. I'm not saying it's a big deal, but it definitely does feel like that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of meh towards this announcement.
I agree with you when they're with the feel and the theme. It feels very Western, but when it goes to the gameplay, it feels very Devil May Cry.
I believe that's because the director of Devil May Cry is like in charge of the gameplay, I believe.
I think it's the combat designer or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's someone that's directly involved in the Devil May Cry series. Normally, I really hate when people say that, "Oh, it looks like Devil May Cry." That's just like their excuse to say it looks like an action game. But now it literally is from Devil May Cry, so I'm like, I'll let it pass because it actually is.
Yeah.
But it still has that like Japanesey flair. Like they move super fast. They have like crazy like abilities. Like when he's shooting fire and he has the Titan fists and the Phoenix uppercut thing. So
I mean, they're straight up, copying Tales of Zestiria now. That guy is the shepherd. He's a shepherd. He's controlling all the different thing. I don't know what he's doing, because you could see the Titan fist, you could see the Phoenix flames. He must have some connection to like stealing or using powers from different summons. I don't know what they're called now. I think they're called icons.
Yeah, that's what they're called in 14. So I'm wondering if they're just kind of going off the 14 lore at this point.
I mean, you called it. It looked like 14.
Well, that's I will say that's the one part that sort of left me underwhelmed, was how it looked. Like I felt like it looked outdated compared to like 7 Remake. Like 7 Remake looks way better than this.
Yeah.
Again, this game is probably a year and a half away. So I'm not like too disappointed. I'm like, maybe they'll have time to improve it and make it look better. and stuff like that. So I'm not like too bummed, but it didn't like blow me away like a new Final Fantasy should, I guess.
Yep.
So
Same here.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that really blew me away is that it was actually Final Fantasy 16 actually was like announced. That's what blew me away. I'm like, whoa, that's quick.
Yep. that surprised me way more than the game itself. Like at first when they were showing off the game, I thought it was anything but Final Fantasy. I thought it was Lost Soul Aside. I thought it was a new like Western RPG or something like that. Maybe it was Final Fantasy. I thought it was like DLC for Final Fantasy 15. That's what I thought. But no, it's definitely not what it was.
The moment I heard Shiva, I'm like, oh. I was like thinking a little bit. I was like, is this actually Final Fantasy Tactics 2? Could be.
That would have been awesome.
I don't think Tactics is ever going to look that good. I think if anything, Tactics is going to come out on Switch or something like that.
Probably.
But yeah, this whole thing left me a little bit like I feel nothing for this game. Like this is Final freaking Fantasy. Like when Final Fantasy 13 was announced, I was hyped. I couldn't believe it, maybe because I was younger. I don't know. When Final Fantasy Versus 13 was announced, I was hyped. Even when Final Fantasy Versus 13 turned to 15, I was hyped.
Yeah, Taylor's freaking out when that happened.
Wait, what? That it was
when Versus turned into 15.
Oh yeah.
But this just seems so generic, and then the character designs, I can't see one memorable character design out of this. The main character looks okay, but he looks like not this Riku, Sasuke Uchiha like revamp, you know. As far as the gameplay is concerned, like we talked about a little bit, it looks like Devil May Cry. It looks fine. I'm sure the gameplay is going to be good. I'm sure it's going to play buttery smooth. I'm sure the systems, the level up stuff is going to be great too. The only thing I'm like satisfied with this game is that it finally, the developers, the publishers, the creators, they seem to have come together as one unit, and they know what to make this game about. They know what this game is going to be. They know what the battle system is going to be, and they're good to go. Unlike Final Fantasy 15 that had a hell development, even the creators were saying that, hey, this is not Final Fantasy. They was telling people that people were leaving. Tabata had to come in and take over for Nomura. Like, no, this game seems like it's got a set roadmap. They know what it is, and they're going to release it, like Taylor said, in about a year and a half. I'll say it's probably going to come out in 2022.
I think they might show some gameplay of this game in TGS. Like
maybe
like a demo. If they show a demo, I would say that they are closer than a year and a half.
I think the last thing I saw was an interview with the producer, and I think one of them, the producer or the director, said that we can expect more information in 2021.
Yeah, so I saw that too. Yeah,
this might be it for the year for this particular. But yeah, if it shows up at the Tokyo Game Show, I'm about it. That's cool. Cool. I always want to see more.
You know what? When I saw the gameplay, I was like, "Oh, this looks like Tales of Arise." Did you guys see the similarities? It's like the battle system itself.
I mean, because it was action. I mean, I don't know. Just because it's action, any action, fast-paced action can look similar, I guess. But
kind of look like Tales of Arise, but I feel like it's not really one copying the other. I would say, if anything, it's Tales of Arise copying the Western style action game. If anything, or like something like Devil May Cry, which is not Western, but they're copying or getting a template, and it's not bad to copy if you know what direction you're going in. That's fine. Which one is going to be better? If I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Final Fantasy. But
that's the one that's the one that's going to sell more.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Tales of Arise doesn't stand a chance. It better come out way ahead of this game. Don't come out in the same month.
Yeah,
most definitely.
So here's my question then. So Nick said that in the beginning of the episode, we were like, let's have it be medieval, yet everybody seems to be kind of meh on the fact that it's medieval. What were we hoping for? Did we want it to be more like cartoony like 9? Or did we want to see like something that looked like a black mage and something? Because we saw a guy that was a dragoon. Like as soon as the dragoon appeared, I watched a lot of reactions. People like, oh my god, a dragoon, So were we just hoping to see those familiar designs? Like what do you think is disappointing people, even though this is exactly what we asked for?
I have no idea. People don't
That's
know
the
what the hell
part
they
that
want.
yeah, right.
I think actually you hit the nail on the head. They didn't show. They showed one thing, which was dragoons.
Yeah,
and they showed memorable monsters, and that's everything. Everyone's reactions were to those things. Like, oh my gosh, it's that character. Oh, it's a dragoon. Oh, it's a summon. If we saw more like a character that looks like a black mage or a white mage or stuff like that, then I think people will start to fall into it's like, yes, okay, now I can see it. Now it's starting to look like a Final Fantasy game. Because all we've seen is like an intro. It feels like how you saw those two characters at the end where it looks like one's like older. I think that whole thing that we saw at the beginning with the raid and the boy Joshua becoming a phoenix or Ifrit, is a flashback. It's like an intro, and then you're gonna flash forward to his bodyguard, who's now like part of this order. Because it seems like he's part of the older character with the tattoo on the face. It looks like they're part of like a icon killing order or something like that. I don't know.
That could be. I was reading some comments and stuff like that. People trying to figure out what the story was. Some people were theorizing that, like you said, that everything we saw was just from the beginning of the game, and that Joshua character dies because at the end he says like, "I'll kill you if it's the last thing I do" or something like that. So maybe they were thinking like he's gonna kill either the icons or like a killer that killed Joshua or whatever. So maybe
Joshua
the rest
himself.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I also wonder what Square's not stupid. They've done this. They've announced games before, and they kind of should at this point know what people are gonna think or whatever. So I guess what I'm getting at is I wonder what they hoped to show with this trailer, where they we want to show that it's medieval, we want to show that it's a little different. I wonder what points they were hoping to get across, and if they have like this whole other set of things to show that they're holding on to, don't worry, we'll have a character that's a black mage and all these things. Because a lot of things I saw people concerned about was, oh god, I hope we don't only play as that guy, which would be one of my concerns. That would suck if he's the only character we play as. And two, it didn't seem like there were any female playable characters, which again would be a bummer because every Final Fantasy has one, except 15, I guess.
I'm about to say, I was like 15 sure as hell didn't have one. Well, I guess technically it did.
That Dragoon girl, it kind of doesn't really count.
Yeah, they don't count.
But then they've had games where it was only female, like in Final Fantasy X-2. So
okay, yeah, I guess that technically counts.
And I guess no, because even in Lightning Returns, you had other guest characters that were guys. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but and then okay, here's something I put this tweet out too, and it really blew up. I was really surprised at how it blew up. There's people that are still upset that this is not a turn-based game, and I said in my tweet, I'm like, guys, Final Fantasy is never going to be turn-based again. Get over it.
Yeah, people are crazy for that. Mainline Final Fantasy will never, ever be turn-based again. It's over. Let it go. Just like we'll talk about later for the Sky going 3D. It's never going back to 2D. Same thing with Final Fantasy. It will never go back to turn-based ever again. That's why you got your Bravely Default, your Octopath Travelers, your World of Final Fantasies. Stick with those if you want your turn-based fixed. Mainline will never go back unless they're explicitly saying we want to go back to form, which I still don't think they would ever do, because I think Square Enix knows that action sells more. So that's all there is to it. It appeals more to people. It appeals more to casual gamers. It appeals more to people in general. That's it. Turn-based doesn't do it. That's all there is to it. So just get over it.
I told
just real quick. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I told Taylor that I would really love to see a turn-based game with the budget of a Final Fantasy game. That would look cool, but we're never gonna get it unless someone pulls it out of their butt or decides to take the risk.
I almost think this was their chance because they're trying, in a way, they're trying to do a throwback, right? Because, like I said, they're going back to medieval. If they were really trying to do a real throwback, I think this would have been the chance. But now this is the third mainline game in a row with action. So we had 15, 7 remake, and now 16. I just don't think it's happening. And here's the other thing that I was gonna say was I think action is just more. It makes for a more seamless experience because anytime you have a turn-based system, you have to do the swirly into the battle system, and then everybody's way. It's just, to me, it's weird. Like, I feel like it's more immersive. Is like you see an enemy, you can just go run up to him and start hitting them. And I mean, there's ways to do that. You can run up to him and hit him, and then you create like a line. I don't know. I just feel like that looks so goofy in like the fidelity that Final Fantasies are in, like the high production value. I don't know. I just feel like guys sitting there I feel like that looks so stupid.
I think you look stupid, Taylor.
Thank you.
Jeez. Nah, I get what you mean. If they did turn-based, they would have to make it so like they're not just standing there. They'll be like moving around and doing like fighting, but not really like doing battle or not really doing damage. There's like animations that they're fighting. So it makes the turn-based look more interactive, but it's not really.
I think they tried that with Final Fantasy 13. Like them moving around, but it's really turn-based. They tried that.
They did it. Doesn't work. They kind of did it with Final Fantasy 12, but
yeah. But it doesn't work. People don't resonate towards that. That's all there is to it. People want direct control. Well, the majority of people want direct control. Not saying the audience for the turn-based isn't out there. Like, obviously, look at Persona, but
or even Dragon Quest. I mean, that's still big.
Exactly, but like, as far as capturing the whole world, if your intent is to capture the whole world, your best bet is to go with an action game.
Yep. Because I saw it split. Like there were quite a few people upset, and then some people were like, I started playing Final Fantasy with 15 because it was action. So I mean, there's definitely both sides of it. And for whatever this is worth, I think Final Fantasy X is one of, if not the best-selling Final Fantasy game. So.
Is it? Like, what is the best-selling Final Fantasy game? I thought it was 7.
It might be after all the digital re-releases. It's probably 7. But I read somewhere that 15 sold like 10 million copies. So.
Okay, 15. Well, yeah, 15 sold so much because it was like anticipated for the longest time. That's the bulk of it. And then like you flow it to other platforms and sales and whatnot. That's the reason it got so big.
Yeah, 15 is number 1, 7's number 2, 13's number 3, 10's number 4.
Oof. You hate to see it. When 7 goes non-exclusive, I'm sure that the 7 remake will probably be top 5 eventually too, because that game's at 5 million sold or something. So it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming to PC. It's coming to Xbox. It's gonna go, well, probably not Switch. Well, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what's going on nowadays with exclusivity? I don't really know.
Switch just needs a pro version.
I think they're gonna do it. They're gonna do a pro version, so it'll come there too. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16. Like, where are you guys' hype level for this? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, because mine is a good like 0 to 2. I don't really care.
Wow.
I'm interested.
I want to just say this, that like I don't think the game is gonna be bad. I'm not disappointed with anything they saw. I'm just saying that it don't do it for me. Like I was more excited for Desire 6 than this. Like, come on, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the more that I've sat with it, like nothing that they actually like showed was like, holy crap, that looks insane. Except the combat. I think the combat looks cool, and this concept of like, maybe as you defeat Titans, you get their powers. So that seems like a cool idea. I think there's a lot more of this game to show. So I guess I'm excited about the idea of it more than rather than what they showed, because it's like the guy behind 14 is the producer. They have the writer from Heaven's Word, which apparently was like the best expansion for 14. So I'm like really confident in the team that's making it. But if I had to say like, what is my hype level? It's definitely not my most hyped game right now. So I'd probably say 6 or 7. Like I know it's good. Like you said, I know it's going to be good. The team behind it is strong. They're going back to medieval. It looks a little bit darker. So I'm confident that that they're going to show more, and then it's going to be like, oh, okay, now this is Final Fantasy. Now I'm kind of into that. But yeah, somewhere between like a 6 and a 7, I guess.
After watching the trailer a couple times and seeing like other people's reactions to it, I kind of like. There's some people that are like, "Oh, this is cool," and then like Max is like, "Oh, this game looks awesome," because he loves Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm more excited to see where it goes. Most likely, like it's a medieval game, so and it's dark, so it could go pretty far. Like Final Fantasy Tactics, like what you see at the beginning of this trailer is just like they're fighting icons and they're warring factions, right? What if there's like Lucavi, the demons, stuff like there's it's Final Fantasy, so the religion's evil, so that's always the plot. And seeing how the battle system grows and the music and the environments, because they showed a lot of environments.
They did, but they didn't. I mean, you're right, they showed a variety, but you're like, it's either in combat or really close up on a character and like a scene. Like they didn't show any of like exploring. I'm wondering if this is an open world game or if it's going to be like 7 where it's like the wide linear type of thing. Yeah, I'm with you though. I think yeah.
I'm just interested to see more. That's pretty much it. I'm not like pre-order now kind of thing,
See, why is that? This is Final freaking Fantasy. What happened here? Like, I think we're more excited for the games that we're going to talk about soon than Final freaking a mainline Final Fantasy. What is going on here? Are we just done with Final Fantasy? If it was turn-based, would we have been more hyped? If it was like modern fantasy, would we have been more hyped? I don't know what happened here.
I don't know. I think it might have been they didn't show enough like character environment wise. They didn't show enough, like nothing was wow worthy. I mean, the graphics don't like if from everything they showed, I thought Demon Souls looked the best. Like visually, I think it looked the best.
Well, Demon Souls looks like a true next-gen game.
Oh my god, it looks unbelievable. Like, I think Demon Souls, like, visually looks better than 15 or 16, like, by far. So, my thought is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All I can keep saying is I think they have more to show. I'm crossing my fingers because like I said, I really trust the team behind it. Like, they're all like, they know what they're doing. Like Yoshi P saved 14. I watched this documentary that about 14, and he said some really interesting stuff about how, like, as Square made the transition from PS2 to PS3, they became like really cocky and prideful and stuff like that. And they thought they were the best, and then they got shown up. So I think he's really humble, and he knows what makes a good Final Fantasy. So I'm confident in his ability to deliver something great. That's really where my confidence stems from, but hopefully that'll actually show in something later, in a later trailer or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you answered the question for me, Shadow. It's a Final Fantasy game. I don't get hyped for Final Fantasy games.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.